Am I the asshole for telling my mom and her husband I don't give a shit if their kid dies? My mom and dad got divorced when I was 5. It was good. They are terrible together. All I remember from back then is them fighting constantly. My mom got primary custody of me and my dad got me on weekends and some holidays. It was better for a couple of years until my mom met Dale. He isn't a bad person, he just wasn't interested in being a stepdad. They got married when I was 9. Then they needed to move for Dale's job. My mom left me with my dad and said she would be back for me when they got settled. My dad and grandma agreed to take care of me full time until then. They apparently have settling to do still because I turned 17 in May and she hasn't come back for me yet. She did however have a kid with Dale. I've never met him. My half-brother is sick and needs something from me. My mother and his father aren't a match, but I might be. My mom contacted me to ask me to get tested to see if I'm a match. My dad said it was up to me. I said no. I have an athletic scholarship to college in the fall. If I do this, donate, not test, I won't be able to participate in the sport I was recruited to play. Which will mean my scholarship goes away. My mom begged. I thought about it. I know I have no shot at being a professional athlete. I'm good but not great. I can play Division I sports but I won't get paid to play. I came up with a compromise I thought would be good. I offered to get tested and if I was a match I would donate, if my mom and Dale agreed to pay my tuition for my degree. I thought it was win/win. If I donate the kid has a chance to live, I can concentrate on school instead of sports, and my dad gets a break after years of doing everything. They said no. They said I should do it with no conditions. I said fuck no then. They accused me of being heartless. I said that just because she didn't give a shit about me and my future doesn't mean I don't. She said my brother will die without me. And here is where I might be the asshole. I literally said that it made no difference to me if her kid lived or died. That I didn't give a shit. My dad is staying out of it and my grandma is on my corner. In fact, all of my dad's family says it's my decision. My mom's family thinks I'm being an asshole for what I said. I've been blocking them all as I get the chance. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for hitting my boyfriend after what he did? I, 21F, was at my boyfriend's, 24M, apartment earlier today and making us lunch while he was gaming with his friends online. He has this alarm that reminds him to move his car, to avoid parking tickets. I don't know if this is just a European thing. The alarm kept going off every few minutes, really loud, and he kept ignoring it. After the 6th time, I went and stood in front of the TV and told him to either turn off the phone or actually go move the car. I can't drive BTW. As I walked back to the kitchen, I heard him say I'll be back. This BCH is getting on my nerves. I've never had anyone call me like that. I walked right back over, slapped him, then yelled that we were supposed to have time together, not him gaming and calling me a slur. He didn't say anything, just went into the bathroom and started blasting music on his phone. I turned off the stove and went back to my place. That was about 4 hours ago. We haven't messaged or spoken since. He is my first boyfriend, so I really don't know what to do. Was I the asshole? My dad always raised me to never take crap from people, but that was more about school bullies. Am I the asshole for telling a guy to shut up during a job interview? I was interviewing this guy for a very good software engineering position. He passed the first round, and both I and everyone involved in the second round really liked his resume and experience. On paper, he had everything we were looking for, and honestly, this looked like a life-changing opportunity for him. Then he shows up, very serious and not smiling at all. I'm used to that in tech interviews, and I understand it can be an intimidating environment. We did a round of introductions, and then he opened the interview by saying, "Let me tell you a little bit about myself." We said, "Okay, go for it." He started talking about his personal and professional background. After about 3 minutes, I jumped in to ask a follow-up question based on something he mentioned. He replied, "I will answer, just give me a moment," and continued talking. A coworker jumped in with another question, and he said the same thing to her. At this point, we were kind of looking at each other, but decided to let him continue and give him the benefit of the doubt. But after more than 5 minutes, I jumped in again with another question. I had to talk over him to do it. He finally paused and answered, but in such a long-winded way that he ended up veering into another topic. My coworker asked another question, and the same thing happened. At this point, I was ready to end the interview. I tried to politely wrap it up several times, but he was unable to read the room and just kept talking. I finally raised my voice slightly and said something like, "Thank you very much for sharing your background. In the interest of time, I'd like to ask if you have any questions for us. This is standard protocol and helps us prepare answers for future interviews." He asked a question about the team. As I was answering, he raised his finger and interrupted to talk more about his background. I let it go. Then he asked another question, which my coworker started to answer, but again, he spoke over her to talk about himself. I tried once more to interrupt politely, but he kept talking. At that point, I was done. I said, "John, you really have to shut up and listen." He was surprised, as was my coworker, but he finally stopped talking. I continued, "You walked into this room with a 99% chance of getting the job. Now that chance is 0. The only reason is because, in less than 15 minutes, you've demonstrated that you don't have the capacity to listen at all. So I'm telling you now, you're not getting the job. But if you take anything away from this interview, let it be this: no matter how good you are technically, if you can't listen, you'll never excel in this career." He apologized and said, "Can we start again?" I replied, "You had your chance. Best of luck in your future interviews. Make sure you listen." Looking back, I know I could have handled that differently, but I still feel bad for the guy. Am I the asshole for silently changing my son's name after my brother and sister-in-law gave my nephew the name too? My wife and I had our son 4 months ago. We had a name chosen early in her pregnancy. We kept that name to ourselves, but my sister-in-law, married to my brother, found it out when she was still pregnant with my nephew, almost 7 months old. She never said how. She just told us she loved the name, congrats, and she couldn't wait to meet him. We assumed she snooped because she was not told. I even mentioned it to my brother and he said that his wife does like to browse through people's things like it was no biggie. Then when my nephew was born they announced his name and it was the name we chose. First, middle and last name. My brother called right after my sister-in-law posted the announcement and he told me to keep quiet because his wife had a rough birth and she didn't need drama and he knew we might not like it but she really wanted the name. Her reason? My brother and I have matching twin-like names and the sister-in-law wanted to connect our 2 boys by just giving them the same name so they were each other's namesake. My wife and I talked it over and we decided to pick a different name. But we'd pretend to keep the original name until there was 0 risk of sister-in-law changing my nephew's name. 6 months after a birth is harder to make a change in our state. We only started telling people the true name last week. My parents and sisters said it made sense. Friends and my in-laws understood why we did it. My brother told me I upset his wife by silently doing this shit and taking away her choice to match the boys. He told me it was a dick move. I told him his wife using the full name we chose was a dick move. I asked him if he considered how much tougher it would be with both boys enrolled in the same schools with the very same name. Not to mention banking, doctors, dental, all kinds of stuff. He told me plenty of people have the same name and it's not a big deal and it's harder to mix shit up now and we're just trying to gatekeep names. I think he's cray. So does my wife. She said he clearly doesn't want sis-in-law to be mad. But am I the asshole for what I did? Like, are we weird for thinking of this kind of stuff?
Am I the asshole for getting a new nurse fired for accusing me of having an affair with my father? Hey Reddit. I am a hospital social worker at a small hospital. My dad is one of the emergency room day shift charge nurses. A few weeks ago I was in the trying to figure out placement for an elderly patient. When I was leaving I had a chat with my dad in the hallway. Before I left he gave me a hug, and told me not to be late for dinner. I joked about how I'm going to order the most expensive steak on the menu since it's his turn to pay. I am 27F, my dad is 51 meters. There was a new nurse at the nurses' station nearby. Pretty much everyone knows that he's my dad. I hadn't spoken with this new nurse much though, and she didn't know. Apparently she thought my dad and I were having an affair based off what she heard, saw. She knew my dad's married to my mom, who brings him lunch sometimes. She immediately began gossiping to some of the other stuff that my dad is having an affair with, the hospital social worker aka me. One older nurse that I've known for a long time immediately came to tell me. I don't think she liked this new nurse very much. I guess no one decided to tell her that he's my dad. I hate gossipers. I don't know what it is about nurses but I swear to God some of them really love to spread rumors. I decided to not take it up with her and I just went straight to our. We were both asked to come to HR after our shift was over, along with my dad. Now, the HR lady knew that he's my father. When NN came in she was asked to explain, and she said that she thinks it's terrible that we would so blatantly have an affair, and she was shocked because she thought my dad seemed like such a nice guy. My dad then decided to speak up and explain that I'm his child. The NN was mortified and apologized profusely. The HR lady asked me and my dad to leave. They had a meeting with the unit manager and it was decided that the new nurse would be fired immediately because she was still in her 90-day probationary period. My mom thinks I'm a jerk and I should have just brought it up to the nurse, instead of bringing it to HR when I knew she would probably get fired. I think my mom is also sympathetic because she stalked the woman's Facebook and she's a single mom or whatever. I think I was right to get her fired, because the hospital doesn't need a bunch of nurses sitting on their asses gossiping instead of doing their jobs. My dad is embarrassed and feels awkward about the whole thing. It's not the first time someone had thought I was dating my dad. We aren't weird anything, but it happens. Anywho, am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for not entertaining a girl who thinks I got her pregnant from fingering? I, 21M, went on like 2 dates with this girl, 18F. First date was alright, but I wasn't really feeling her. I tried to end it with a kiss, and she told me she didn't know how to kiss. That turned into me trying to teach her how to kiss, and honestly, I should have known she was a bit too young for me right there. I decided to give it one more shot. Second date, we went to the movies. She decided she wanted to help me out. I finished, cleaned up, then helped her out. That was it, no sex, no anything beyond that. I thought it was mutual that we weren't super into each other because neither of us reached out after. A few days ago, she texted me saying her period is 3 weeks late and she's really scared. She even sent me articles saying pregnancy can happen from fingering if there's somehow sperm involved. I told her to calm down, that it's super unlikely. 1. My hands didn't even touch my sperm, and 2. Sperm cannot survive that long, and that's what I told her. I kinda left it at that. I thought it was pretty fucking funny that she actually think that she's pregnant. Now she keeps blowing up my phone. I've honestly started to ignore her. My friends think it's funny but also say it's kinda messed up I'm ignoring her while she's scared. I tried to reassure her I don't know what else I could do. Am I the asshole? Update, am I the asshole for not entertaining a girl who thinks I got her pregnant from fingering? I took the most popular piece of advice from my original post, and that was to have her take a pregnancy. I decided to text her back. I apologized for ignoring her. We met up, I bought her 2 pregnancy tests. She took them inside the bathroom of the pharmacy we bought them from. I waited outside the bathroom and let her do her thing. After she was done she asked me to come inside and we waited for the results. Now, we're waiting for the results. It's been almost 10 minuets and the test is still blank. She's looking at the test wondering why Therese no results, and then she's like I think I took it wrong. I asked what she meant because how do you take a pregnancy test wrong? And she said she forgot to take the white cap off of the part you pee on I guess. She told me she didn't have to pee anymore, and she would just take them when she got home. I said okay, and I drove her home. 2 hours later she sent me pictures and just like I expected, they both came back negative. I responded with oh okay, good, and she liked the message, so I think we're on the same page about not communicating anymore. So yeah, she's not pregnant.
Am I the asshole for running away because my parents were late to my graduation over a labubu? Okay, I know this sounds so ridiculous and insane. I, 18F, am adopted and was adopted as a baby. My parents thought they couldn't have kids, even tried IVF, so when my sister Princess, 10F, was born it was a miracle. Everything changed. Princess was spoiled and clearly the favorite. She never got in trouble, was always right, got whatever she wanted and acted however she wanted. My parents didn't treat me badly though, but if I got 1 toy, Princess got 5. It sucked, I was jealous, and I got in trouble for it. Princess got worse around age 6 when she realized how much she could get away with. She broke my things, hurt others, stole, and hated when anyone else had attention. I became a target. Luckily, I had friends, school, and relatives for support though, so it wasn't the worst. I did great in school and joined clubs and sports just to stay out of the house. During summer I worked or interned just to avoid her. Now I have a car and a boyfriend since sophomore year. I stay with him a lot and his family loves me, so I'm barely home, maybe 24 hours at most weekly. My parents didn't care and this was my normal, so I stopped caring too. Anyway, graduation was last month, one of the few things I asked my parents to come to. I was excited, they seemed excited, and some relatives came too. But Princess had to ruin it. See, her current obsession are these doll plush keychains called labubus. She collects them, and that specific day, she found this super rare one for sale in our city. Now instead of contacting the seller and buying it the next day, my parents went to go get it, and not only that, spent $350. My grad gift was $150, then they showed up so late, our caps were already being tossed. I was hurt. After graduation, I ignored them and went home with my boyfriend. I've basically moved in with him at this point, since any time I went back home, it was to get my things to go back. My parents called, texted, apologized, even came over and begged me to forgive them. Worst part of it all, they think it's the money and sent me another $100. I refused to talk to them. Now it's serious, as they're threatening to report me as missing / a runaway and contact my future college if I don't go back home. I feel justified in my actions and don't think it's that serious, but am I the asshole?